Hello, good people. Some of you may be aware that I recently celebrated my birthday. Merry Dasha Fest to everyone and all. And I am the same age as Sesame Street and hip hop. And the 5 elements of hip hop, you have the MC, the DJ, the break dancer, the graffiti artist, and knowledge of culture and self. But I didn't know any of that shit when I was losing my 14-year-old mind at my very first concert of Beastie Boys and Run DMC. And I am losing this 14-year-old mind, important context, in Stuttgart, West Germany. I'm an army brat. So we are here at this show, and it's the first concert that I was able to go to by myself. And important footnote, the very first concert I went to was with my mother at the age of 6 to go see Rufus and Shaka Khan. Because babysitters, why? Why do that? Why do that? So Shaka, I remember this as a little kid, her coming out on the stage going, "Hello, motherfuckers!" This is allowed. So as a teenager, you've got No Sleep Till Brooklyn. As a teenager, you've got My Adidas. And at this space, being an army brat, being overseas, we were fortunate that we're next to everything. I mean, Germany is right there. So for those of you who did your senior trip to Six Flags, that was cute. We went to Spain. Right? Literally learned how to ski on the Swiss Alps. Trips to Paris for the weekend. My mother and her friends would go shopping in Berlin because it was all right there, not because we were fancy. We were fortunate of geography. But the flip side of that is we were also disconnected from culture, from what was actually happening in America. Our culture was delayed. So when you live on a military base, there is one channel. There is one outlet for news and media. AFN, Armed Forces Network. And with the Armed Forces Network, we would get donations from the major networks of the TV shows that had already happened. So there was a huge market for VHS tapes of the new seasons of the soap operas because we didn't know what was happening on General Hospital. We had, the storylines were 2 years old, 3 years old. We're getting their old leftover, which sounds okay. But you know you're missing something. You know that there's a lag. So you would have people that would send over videotapes of whatever TV shows were happening, but it was high premium if those VHS tapes also had commercials in them. Because we had no commercials. I was a whole grown-up when they started doing those MTV review shows. I'd never seen the Where's the Beef commercial until I was an adult because it wasn't there. So in addition to that, you're getting this exported culture. I remember one of our girlfriends come back to the States to visit, and she came back and said, okay. What they're saying home is girlfriend. We were like, what? Okay, girlfriend. And we tried to make it stick, but if you've ever been the only person trying to make a new phrase stick, it was just the 3 of us. It didn't stick. We couldn't make it happen, and we were pretty inconsistent ourselves. And so the flip side, because we're delayed, I remember another friend had moved back, and we got this letter. And they're like, oh, and another thing. You just need to know. They're not turning their collars up anymore. They're not folding the cuffs of their pants over and rolling up the hems. It's not happening anymore. I learned that the hard way, y'all. Don't come back. It's over. It's dead. So we never quite knew what was really topical because we had this bubble of culture, and we pulled into it what we could. And one of the things we pulled into this culture was everything we saw on TV. Everything, TV that was sent to us. So we got sent to us Beat Street and Crush Groove and mixtapes, and everything that was big in the world was how we were able to see it. I was able to go to a concert of Beastie Boys and Run DMC because they were enormous in the world, right? So we have this show, and at that point, my girlfriends and I were like, hey, we're in this now. We're in this now. You know what we should be? Be girls. We feel it. So we would go to the gym. So on base, you would go, and we would go. The guys got finished playing basketball. Whatever else was happening in the weight room, we would get out the gymnastics and wrestling mats, and we would practice. We would practice our top rock. We would practice our pop locking. This is all I was ever to get. Not bad. I know. So, but in that, you saw what that's, and this is not like a diminishing of skills. It's pretty much what it looked like at that time. So I wasn't the option. Kelly didn't have time outside of cheerleading. Dana didn't have any rhythm. But I did find that I was always a doodler. So those graffiti letters, someone's like, oh, can you make me a sign with my name for my locker? Yeah. So I was peddling these, what? Smurfette, got you. VA Dream Team, got you. What? Megan, got you. Piece of paper. I was investing in the gel pens because that's how I was able to, to contribute to being a B girl since I couldn't be a B girl. So Denise was our best hope. Oh, she had the moves. She had she had the whole face. She had the rhythm, she had the bravery, and so we would still go with her to the gym, and we would practice. We would watch her practice, we would help her out, and we were getting ready for the upcoming DYA dance. Now, the DYA was a Dependent Youth Activities. So imagine the Boys and Girls Club, but instead of a system of neighborhoods, it was the DYA of Milwaukee waiting to go to a dance with the DYA of Racine and the DYA at Grafton. And the further the DYA was away, somehow the boys were always cuter. Distance improved attractability. I don't know what that was about, but Kaiserslautern, we had to get Denise ready. And sure enough, the DYA dance comes up. We got our fits on. The school bus of the Kaiserslautern kids show up. And we were just ready, and we're starstruck, but we're also cool because, we're B-girls. And so we're waiting. And so the dance happens, and then sooner or later, there's a circle that happens. The circle spreads out, and then one dancer comes out, does a top rock. And then another couple come out, and they're vibing. And now somehow we just knew the girls' division would happen, and the sisters came out. And we looking at Denise. Now we know our job is for the face. So we got the face. Denise gets going. She feels it. Shoulders locking. You can see it in her neck. She's real like, oh, shit. She gets it. Ate her up and spit it back out. You saw it. Denise got ate up. And we were like, ooh, someone practiced more than us. Somebody just had more skills than us. Somebody was better than her. You see how it wasn't us anymore? You see, we were just support. So it was a really quiet walk home at the end of that dance. And Denise and her family moved away within the year, which is the nature of being a military family. The friends you start with are not the friends that you end with. And one of the things a bookmarker like to say, it's part of the ingredients of how I'm able and excited to move through the world the way that I do, because I'm used to people leaving, but I'm used to new people coming in. And you get to appreciate the folks that are in front of you while they're in front of you, because they won't be in front of you all the time. So Kelly had moved on. Dana left maybe our junior year. And I still had hip-hop coursing through me, but I'm also, trying to pass algebra. And I'm also figuring out how to do these other things in my world. And so when I got to college, I was surprised to understand that all of the hip-hop classics, I'm talking the golden era of hip-hop. The golden era of hip-hop. These were the classics. This is what everybody knew, everyone was excited about. And I get to college and I learn about this underground business. Everything felt underground to me, to us, the way all of these things had to be smuggled into us over the course of these years. So to find out these classics were mainstream, I found that this passport to hip-hop was conditional. And then to be told that I had a little bit too much Cyndi Lauper in my playlist because this was also the 80s. And it was Bon Jovi too, and Madonna too, and Joshua Tree too. So then to get into my 30s, I remember telling somebody about being a tagger. They're like, what? You were a tagger? Yeah. Did you ever get in trouble? I was like, get in trouble? Why would I get in trouble? Well, climb on top of buildings and stuff. I said, oh, no. I had gel pens. I had gel pens and printer paper. And he was like, you weren't a tagger. Don't tell anybody that ever again. But in my heart, I was. And then you fast forward, and it was like, well, I was telling somebody about the dances and the Kaiserslautern crew and the circle breaking open and us working, having the cardboard boxes broken up. They're like, what? That didn't really happen. I mean, maybe in New York, but nobody really did that. But we did. I was there. I seen it. And so over the time, realizing or feeling that this experience of being in this culture was a conditional thing, that my membership had maybe never been authentic in the first place, which kind of goes along the same experience of always trying to figure out where I got to fit in. If I was too cultured or not cultured enough, too black, not black enough, too hip-hop, not hip-hop enough, I would never, ever get into the conversations of the top five MCs, because I didn't know all the other. I had the top five, all the classics. But that wasn't enough. You needed to have this breadth of knowledge of the B-side of the MC from Schenectady who never got a side. I don't know those folks. Ask me about Slick Rick. Talk to me about MC Light. Come through with Beastie Boys and Run DMC, but that wasn't enough. And so through this space, and by the time I'm an adult, I'm also trying to be an adult. So it's R&B, and hip hop wasn't something I had space for because I had a different relationship with it. And it's kind of like when you think that the crew, the popular folks, don't really want you involved. I disconnected myself from what had always been this space where we all knew the words, we all felt the beat, we all had on the fit, and we all got to be together in ways that we weren't always invited to be together. So as hip hop celebrated its 50th anniversary, which was the same time I was myself turning 50, I was able to look into this space and realize that the elements are always the same. You want to celebrate the lyrics from the MC. You're going to honor that intuition of the DJ. You're going to trust what happens naturally in your body, like a B-girl and a dancer. You're going to appreciate how we can twist the visuals like a graffiti artist. And it's definitely the knowledge of culture and self. So it turns out that hip-hop is about saying who you say you are. And if I say I'm hip-hop, that's who I am. Thank you.